break it down.
For this episode of Break It Down, we have the X-Men First Appearance box set from the Iconix line. This box set contains the original 5 members of the X-Men and Magneto from their first encounter in the first issue of X-Men from 1963. So let's take a look at Cyclops first. It's worth mentioning he has the marksman keyword, which that of course lets him be assigned the trick arrow equipment for free. All of the 5 X-Men from this set have the from first class to graduation trait. The first part is free. Heal an adjacent character with the X-Men team ability one click, and when it says with a specific team ability, it must be printed on the base. Using team player to copy it does not count. The second part of the trait allows you to generate a character from your sideline with the same name as the X-Men that was just KO'd. So once they get KO'd, you bring in the new character adjacent to them, then remove them from the map. And these are considered brand new characters, so any action tokens the KO'd character might have had would not carry over to this new character. All of the X-Men also have a second trait that revolves around giving them a standard power, willpower, and a bonus for succeeding their willpower. Cyclops's is giving Force Blast and willpower, and when he succeeds on willpower, opposing combat values can't be positively modified until your next turn. And that's not just when he attacks or is attacked, it's a map-wide effect during the whole turn and the opponent's next turn. Then he has a special damage power that gives him leadership, range combat expert, improved targeting, destroys blocking, and protected outwit. Cyclops has improved targeting adjacent to characters, so even if he's adjacent to an opposing character, he can still make those range attacks. He has a great 6 range and 2 point values. At 60 points, he starts with an 8 running shot, 11 attack, 17 toughness, and a 3 damage with his special damage power on those first 2 clicks. Then he moves to sidestep, gains penetrating psychic blast and leadership, but does lose running shot and his special damage power. You can also play him for 15 more points at 75, he gains 2 more clicks of health and gets ESD instead of toughness. As far as modern options for the pieces he can generate when KO'd, you have the one from Deadpool Weapon X, which is kind of a neat choice. His defense power on his stop click would still trigger. The one from the second Hellfire Gala is an option. And while he looks really cool, probably isn't your first choice when he comes in. The third one is a great option, coming in on a 12 attack and neat special attack power and probability control, and a trait that gives adjacent friendly characters with the X-Men keyword +1 to their attack. Next we have Jean Grey. She has the same first trait as all of the X-Men in this box set. Her second trait gives her mind control and willpower, and when she succeeds on willpower, she can barrier as free and use ranged terrain actions as free, which means she can attack with and or destroy terrain without taking a costed action that turn. Then a special damage power, enhancement, probability control, and gives her protected outwit as well. She has improved targeting, adjacent to characters, and a 5 range with flight. She has 2 point values, 60 and 75, always having sidestep and TK, and starting with energy shield deflection and her special damage power. She gets 2 extra clicks of health at 75, and at 60, she has 6 clicks of health moving to super senses and shape change instead of ESD and the special damage power. When Jean Grey is KO'd, you have 2 modern options, the Hellfire Gala 2-1 that offers TK, enhancement, and barrier, or the Deadpool Weapon X one that you wouldn't get any TK on that last click, but still have barrier enhancement. So your better play is probably the Hellfire Gala 2 Jean Grey for your sideline. Then we have Iceman. Iceman has the same shared trait from first class to graduation. His second trait gives him ESD and willpower, and his bonus for succeeding on willpower grants a +1 defense to all friendly characters until your next turn. His special power in the attack slot is Incapacitate, and when you hit with it, you generate a blocking terrain marker to each hit character. He has 5 range and 3 bolts, making that special incap power pretty useful. And he also has flight. Just like Cyclops and Jean Grey, he has a 60 and 75 point line. At either, he starts with that special incap, defend, and enhancement. If you play him at 75 points, you get hypersonic speed and a 19 defense, which is great for that defend. Otherwise, at 60 points, he always has running shot and an 18 defense. And on click 5, then he gets precision strike, and with a running shot 3 bolts, that's pretty awesome. When KO'd, he has a few modern options and probably the first character worth packing a couple options for your sideline. The Iceman from Spider-Verse works better with Spider-Man characters, so he probably won't be making the cut. But this one from Deadpool Weapon X offers Pulse Wave and support, and if any of your team has taken damage and they're off their special powers, now they have a +1 attack. The Hellfire Gala 2 Iceman might be the play if you need another attacker. He jumps in with a running shot, 4 range, 3 bolts, 11 Pensai, with range combat expert, making him a 12 for 3. The last option for Iceman would be if you played the Iconix one at 75, and really the whole team at 75 in a 400-point game, or you only play 3 others at 75 and drop one in a 300-point game. Then you add this LE Iceman to your sideline at 75 points. While not very offensive, he gives the rest of your team a +1 attack and +1 defense, in addition to giving them all sidestep. And since he comes in on his last click, his stop click defense power would still trigger, and you'd be able to generate a blocking terrain marker. Since that blocking terrain isn't barrier, it does need to be generated adjacent to him, and does not get removed at the beginning of your next turn. Our 4th X-Men in the set is Beast, sharing the From First Class to Graduation trait. His second trait gives him super senses and willpower, and when Beast succeeds on willpower, it allows you to place as many friendly characters 1 square away from their current square as you want. Since it says place, there's no breakaway required, and it says friendly characters, not other friendly characters, so that includes him since he's always friendly to himself. He's got great improved movement, elevated, outdoor blocking, and characters. His special damage power gives him Empower and Perplex, and if a friendly character uses willpower and succeeds, he can also use Close Combat Expert that turn. And if you play this whole set as a team, the chances are pretty good someone hits because all of them have that willpower. He can trigger this himself as well, because it does say friendly and not another friendly. At both 75 and 60 points, he will always start with charge, super strength, combat reflexes, and that special damage power. And if at least one friendly character got their willpower, now he's at 12 for 4 up close. And with super strength, he could grab some terrain and make it 5 damage. So he's got some potential to hit hard. If Beast gets KO'd, he only has one modern option at the moment, the Deadpool Weapon X Beast. But this is a great option. Not only does he give you access to Outwit, but he can choose 3 different standard powers instead of just 1. Our last X-Men in the box set is Angel. Just like the rest, he has the same First Class to Graduation trait. His second trait is Toughness and Willpower. When he succeeds on Willpower, you get to move him up to 5 squares. He also has improved movement characters, so he won't need to break away if he's adjacent to an opposing character, and he has Flight, so he could carry a friendly character if he hits his Willpower. He also has his special speed power, which is hypersonic speed, and usually you can't carry at the same time you use hypersonic speed, but his version grants passenger 2. And don't forget, if you're carrying someone and stop to make an attack, you place those people you carried before making the attack, so that allows you to benefit from their empower, enhancement, or probability control. Just like the rest of the team, he has 75 or 60 point starting lines. He's only getting Precision Strike at 75 points. He will start with combat reflexes on either point value and always have Empower. When KO'd, Angel currently doesn't have any modern options to generate. But in Silver Age, you could use the X-Men Rise and Fall Angel, who isn't doing too much, but maybe you can get a sneaky rally die playoff later in the game. But the Chase from X-Men Xavier School has some pretty mean potential. He'd be right there on that stop click that's on his attack power, and if he isn't KO'd during that same turn he comes in, he can move up to 8 squares or charge for 4 and attack. Then he can free just deal 3 damage to each other character within 5 squares. No line of fire needed. Angel does leave the game after pulling this off, but since he's not scored when brought in through the trait, you don't lose anything. Just make sure to clear your team, because that 3 damage is all other characters, not just opposing. And don't forget that 3 damage is not from an attack, so characters don't stop on stop clicks when turning the dial from this type of damage. The final piece in the X-Men First Appearance box set is Magneto. You can play him at 295 points, leaving 5 points in a 300 point game for maybe a piece of equipment, or a one-shot, or at 175 points. At either point line, he'll always start with a running shot, a 12 attack, pulse wave, impervious, and range combat expert. So even if he's using pulse wave with that range combat expert, he still has a 13 attack. He has some very cool traits that help him compete as a one-man army. First is Arch Enemy of the X-Men, When a character rolls a single d6 and the displayed face is a 5, after resolutions, choose one. Deal that character 1 unavoidable damage or heal Magneto 1 click. Usually when your opponent hits 5s on those single d6 rolls, they're happy, but now they might even think about not rolling some of them. Leadership, Willpower, Blades Claws Fangs, Support, Super Senses, Impervious Shape Change, just to name some powers. Then other in-game effects like breakaway rolls, team abilities like the X-Men TA, and plenty of characters just have powers or abilities that require a single d6 roll. This also isn't limited to once per turn or once per character, so you can keep pinging enemies or healing Magneto. Magneto also has a couple single d6 rolls himself, being able to heal on his turn with the willpower from his Cosmic Energy TA, or if he hits that impervious that he has most of his dial. His second trait gives him energy shield deflection, and if you're playing him at 295 points, map-wide, opposing characters modify all combat values by the number of costed actions that have been taken that turn. This could really hinder your opponent as their turn progresses, because that also includes damage. And if you're playing him in a higher point game, you could use this to your advantage as well by taking a costed action with a friendly character and dropping opposing combat values, which could be huge when you start decreasing their defense or they lose their range for something like probability control. His third and final trait gives him telekinesis and a special power action where you choose a square within range and destroy all blocking terrain within 2 squares of the chosen square, then make a range attack targeting all other characters within 2 squares of the chosen square. Hit targets are dealt 3 damage instead of normal damage. If Magneto is 295 points, he activates the effects of this trait as free instead of power, which includes both telekinesis and that special power action. He also has improved targeting, destroys blocking, and adjacent to characters. 6 range, 2 bolts, and flight. This is an awesome powerhouse of a Magneto, and I can't wait to run this guy at full. That's going to be it for this video. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and thanks for watching.